안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-hwa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-education, K-everything. And before you know, you'll be booking your flight to Korea. I'm joined by our co-host Walter Lee in the studio. Hello, Walter. Looking good in your school look today.
Oh, hello, Soa, and I might say so do you. We are matching with ties today. And hello to everyone at home. I'm Walter Lee. I've got some exciting K-entertainment news coming up, so stick around for that.
And before that, Walter,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
Are you into retro by any chance?
Oh, it is a thing coming back, isn't it? For me, I love photography, so I love retro photography. I love the Polaroids that are coming back. I like the old style photos. So for me, it's definitely photography. How about you, Soa?
I actually also have one of those retro camcorders
Okay.
and retro cameras, and I'm into retro fashion these days.
I
And
see.
recently, I was in the subway and I saw 3 middle school students, and they were wearing like baggy jeans and like
yes.
a really short puffer jackets, and also a backpack that had a brand that was like really trendy 20 years ago or so.
Yes,
So it
yes.
really felt like they were copy and pasted from 20 years ago.
Yes.
So yes, I'm really into fashion these days and retro fashion. So let's take a look at the latest retro trend in today's Culture Report. From 1980s game arcades to Korea's classic Dabang cafes, these nostalgic spots are attracting both young and old, bridging generations with their timeless vintage charm. Our Han Da-eun zooms in on the growing retro trend.
A retro cafe featuring a live trot singer and sanghwa tea topped with egg yolk. This isn't a K-drama set, it's the real deal. From the decades-old cash register to the vintage patterned sofas, this cafe preserves the classic charm of Korea's old-school Dabang. Yet, most of its visitors are teenagers and young adults, reliving the nostalgia of their parents' generation.
I discovered this retro cafe through Insta Reels and had to see it for myself. It feels just like a scene straight out of a drama or movie.
This place offers not only classic teas, but also various fusion drinks that blend tradition with modern flavors.
This Dabang has been passed down through generations as a part of Seonsanga, Korea's once iconic electronics market. The cafe's guiding principle is to preserve its original charm while enhancing convenience.
I was considering getting rid of it, but I just couldn't bring myself to. I thought maybe I could try reviving it. You know, today's younger generation is into neutro, while our generation is into retro.
The cafe has become a holy site for certain K-pop fans, with their idols visiting for YouTube shoots. Its popularity is now playing a key role in revitalizing the nearby commercial area, which had been struggling due to redevelopment. An 80s-style sign reading computer games leads into a bustling arcade. Each game costs just 101, or about 7 cents. Visitors dive into their favorite childhood games, reliving nostalgic memories.
These games bring back so many childhood memories. My favorite used to be Street Fighter, as you can see right here.
From the classic dancing game DDR to Tekken, players shake the joystick to unwind and let off some steam. The arcade also features a quote-unquote lady boss character to manage the store and assist with the games, also connecting with customers through social media.
Many parents bring their kids and share the games they loved in their childhood.
The nostalgic scene, recreating the neighborhood arcade from back in the day, has gained word-of-mouth popularity, drawing thousands of visitors on weekends. These retro charms are seamlessly linking the past with the present, creating a unique bridge that connects generations through shared memories and new discoveries. Han Da-eun, Arirang News.
It's now time for our daily dose of K-Enter News with Walter Lee. And we're going to start off in the K-pop world with SM's new girl group finally
Finally, we have been patient here on the Culture Wave. We've talked about them, but we have the next SM Entertainment stars. It's taken 5 years for SM fans. I'm talking about Hearts to Hearts. Now, on Monday, Hearts to Hearts held their debut showcase at Yes24 Live Hall in Seoul. Now, the group's name represents their mission to connect hearts with their global fans. Now, the group consists of 8 members, that's including their leader, Ji-woo, Carmen, Yuha, Stella, Jun, Aina, Ian, and Yeon. Now, Hearts to Hearts is the first girl group SM Entertainment has introduced since aespa, like I said, 5 years ago, so they've been waiting for so long. Their first single, The Chase, marks Hearts to Hearts' debut with the themes of dreams and beginnings. Now, the members have set goals such as securing first place on music shows and expressing their wish to be recognized as the best rookie group of 2025, but they do have some competition. Remember, we've talked about Kiki, we've talked about Kickflip, so let's see how they go at the end of the year.
Well, if they follow the footsteps of a group as big as aespa, I guess it will not be a big problem. But,
Yes.
different from aespa, aespa, I always feel that they are very modern and
Yes.
fancy, but when I listened to the debut songs of Hearts to Hearts, I kind of felt nostalgic. So I think they have that kind of retro vibe in their group.
That's what I was also thinking as well when I first watched their video. They had like a retro start to it and kind of like matching what we were talking about just
Right,
before.
reminds me of SES and Pinkle.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, now we're going to move on to boy bands.
Yes.
What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, so on Monday, it was a busy day for K-pop groups and their releases as Zero Base One have come out with their 5th mini album. It's called Blue Paradise at Blue Square MasterCard Hall in Seoul. Now, the album consists of 6 tracks. Now, they include the title track Blue, as well as Devil Game, Doctor Doctor, Out of Love, Step Back, and Cruel. Now, it also features 3 unit subgroup songs, marking their first. Zero Base One has introduced unit tracks since their debut. Now, from their debut album, get this, to their 5th mini album, Zero Base One has achieved an impressive milestone of 5 consecutive million seller records. Now, the 5th one coming as late as this morning. So following this success, they embarked on their first Asian tour last year, and it was called Timeless World. It attracted a total of over 140,000 fans.
Wow, so in one day, already 1 million of their latest album, they already sold 1 million records. That
Yes.
is a really great achievement. So congratulations to Zero Base One. And we will move on with a K-movie.
Yes, I like ending our segments off with K-movies because I love promoting K-movies. Now, actor Ha Jung-woo's film, Lobby, now I say it's his film because he directs and stars in it, has being confirmed to be released on April 2nd. Now, a trailer was also recently released on YouTube. You can actually see it on our screen right now. Now, Lobby follows the story of Chang-wook, a startup CEO who is a master researcher in the field of tech. But he needs to secure a 4 trillion Korean won government project, and to do so, he figures the only way to embark on this is to do his first ever lobbying golf game. But he has some stiff competition in his way. Now, Lobby is actually Ha Jung-woo's 3rd directorial work, showing that his talent is not just in front of the camera, but also behind.
Very talented actor/director. Well, thank you very much, very talented Walter, for your K-Enter News, and stick around.
I will.
And next up, we have Ari, our AI anchor, with more culture news and a special focus on exhibitions today. Ari, take it away.
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. Early registration for G-Star 2025 is now open. Companies that apply early will receive a 10% discount on booth fees. Early registration is available on the official G-Star website until April 30th. But it may close sooner if all booths are booked before the deadline. General applications will begin in May. This year's exhibition will kick off on November 13th at Bexco in Busan. G-Star is one of the world's largest gaming exhibitions, drawing over 200,000 attendees annually. An exhibition offering a vivid glimpse into the lives of ancient Koreans who lived in harmony with nature is currently on display at the Sejong Center for the Performing Arts in Seoul. Co-hosted by the Sejong Center and the National Heritage Service, the exhibition brings the beauty of Korean traditional gardens to life through cutting-edge digital technology, using data collected since 2021 through precise surveys. It recreates historical gardens and natural scenery with remarkable realism. A standout feature is a media art installation crafted from 3D scans of a rear garden of Changdeokgung Palace and Bogyeoldo Garden of Yunsan-do, a scenic site with historical significance. The exhibition runs through April 27th, free of charge. From August to September, it will be showcased at the Korean Cultural Center in London. How about immersing yourself in the world of geraniums this spring? The Sejong National Arboretum is showcasing over 300 varieties of geraniums from around the world, meticulously collected and researched by the Geranium Professional Association. Native to South Africa, geraniums are celebrated for their vibrant blooms and fragrant foliage. The exhibition also features diverse educational programs in geranium gardening, entrepreneurship, industry trends, and practical ways to incorporate geraniums into everyday life. You can register for the programs on the Sejong Arboretum's website. The exhibition will be open until April 27th. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
The new school year begins next week here in Korea. It's an especially exciting month for freshmen at universities who are preparing for a new chapter in their lives. Today, we invite David Tizard, professor of Korean Studies at Seoul Women's University and Hanyang University, to talk about Korean culture classes as well as culture on the university campuses here in Korea. Hello and welcome, Professor Tizard.
Hello, Professor.
Thank you for having me. I heard you guys talking about retro before. That's why you brought an old guy like me in to explain things.
No.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, Professor Tizard, most universities in Korea will be kicking off their new school year or semester next week, March 4th. Maybe there's a slight differences depending on which school. But are you excited to meet your new students? Are you getting prepared to meet your new students?
Absolutely. It comes round again. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been preparing. I had a shave. I'm trying to lose all the weight that I put on over winter. In terms of preparing for the classes, I've been looking at the influence of Baek Nam-jun, the visual artist from the 70s and 80s. I've been watching the movies of Park Chan-wook, particularly I'm a Cyborg, But It's Okay, starring Rain, which is a brilliant movie. I've been studying the Korean communist movement from the 1920s and 30s, and then looking at introversion and extroversion as big 5 personality traits across culture. So lots of reading I've been doing to get ready.
Very interesting. Now, Professor Tizard, you mainly teach Korean culture.
Yep.
With the Korean wave or Hallyu sweeping across the world, do you really feel how the interest in Korean culture classes has been increasing?
It's why I'm so busy, to be honest. I'm teaching 9 classes again this semester, which is not usual for a professor, I must say. And I was just back in the United Kingdom, and I was amazed by how easily you could find Korean products. You could find Korean pop-up stores and things like this, and eat the bunshik and the food. It was so different from, let's say, 10 years ago. When I'm in my classes and students do their sort of self-introductions or they reveal who they are, what I've found very interesting, especially over the last semester and a half, is that students have been telling me, I used to be a K-pop fan. And that's been something that I've been paying attention to, where I think obviously people still have a great love for K-pop. It's still very popular, but I'm not sure it's at the height that it was, let's say, when BTS were topping the billboards with that trio of songs, Butter Dynamite. And so I'm noticing that people are focusing on Korea more broadly. Korea as a country, it's entered their consciousness, maybe through K-pop, and that's been a bridge into people saying, now, what is this country? Where does it come from? Why are they divided? What's going on with the politics? So while the interest is changing, that's the fascination for me.
That is fascinating.
That's extremely fascinating to hear because, you know, back when you and I were both younger, no one really heard of Korea, right? We were very much the one Asian country that no one heard. Now, Professor, you just mentioned you are teaching 9 classes, which I don't know where you would be able to do that on a 5-day routine. And you also mentioned what you've been studying up on. Can you tell us what classes you are teaching this semester and how have your classes been received so far by students, maybe also from the foreign students?
Of course, they're received marvelously. All students love my classes.
Of course, yes.
I'm teaching 6, my main job is at Seoul Women's University. I'm teaching 6 courses there and 3 at Hanyang University. These courses include contemporary Korean studies, digital modern life in Korea, East and West culture in Korea, Hallyu and the Korean wave. So I've been taking notes about the new SM group. Thank you very much for that. And modern issues in Korea. Lots of Korean history, culture, modernity, history as well.
And I'm especially interested in the Hallyu class that you teach. We could cooperate a lot on that front.
It's a fascinating thing. And even for Korean students, I'm sort of showing them videos of Sotaeji and explaining this. And this is the first time they've seen it. We also watch things like Winter Sonata in class, and so get the origins of the Korean wave. And my students will tell me that their mum used to watch this, and that's fascinating because I'm not only sort of teaching young people about the history of Hallyu, but I'm, in a way, and this sounds a bit weird, I'm helping them connect with their parents and their aunties and uncles by showing what the Korean wave was before, which I find nice. And so, you also asked, Walter, how is it being received? The classes are full. I mean, I'm only busy because of people's love in Korea. And so I feel very grateful, and I try to work hard to give the best that I can. I will say this very quickly, if I may. When I start the semester, I'm always caught by the idea that I could teach 16 weeks and I could say all of the negative things about Korea. And I could say like the birth rate, the mental health, and all of this, and celebrities and suicide. I could spend 16 weeks doing gukbong, which is this really overly patriotic perspective of Korea. And then I always ask myself, so what should I do? How do I teach Korea? How should I explain Korea to all of these people that are interested in it? And it's a question that constantly revolves in my mind.
Well, that actually brings me to my next question, Professor. With all this variety of subjects that you do, what do you exactly want your students to take away from your classes?
Knowledge, perspectives, variety. I want them to be curious, and I want them to work hard. I want them to read. I want them to leave, and they always told me this actually, I want them to leave class with more questions than answers, and they find it frustrating, but I sometimes sit there with students from Indonesia wearing hijabs, with people from blue hair from the west coast of America, and Korean students, and what they realize by this is that there are many perspectives in the world. There are many different takes, and so by studying Korea and by looking at it, what students realize is they're actually learning more about themselves. They're learning that their worldview and their opinions and how they perceive things is often it's a result of where they grew up and how they were raised. And when they see how other people were raised and grew up and things like this, they realize the world's a big place. And so one of the things that I want my students to take away is that you need to discover who you are. And a great way to do that is by looking at something like Korea. It becomes a mirror for our own existential journey, perhaps.
Very interesting. And I find it also especially intriguing that you can connect generations through Hallyu. And also, I would love to have the students ask many questions, because in Korea, people don't ask many questions, like in Western culture, for instance. So we have still many questions for you, Professor Tizard. And I think it must be a kind of unique experience to be teaching Korean culture as a foreigner and to Korean students. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
It's a privilege, and I do find it funny when I have to explain aspects of Korean history to Korean people. There's an inside-out perspective in sociology that, you know, sort of when a fish is in water, a fish doesn't know what water is because it's been immersed in it, and only by going outside of a culture can you have a special vantage point. I have a great love for Korea. I think there's so much good about this country, particularly the history and the development and what it's achieved. I mean, it's easy to throw shade on Korea in modern life, but it's a fabulous country with people. And so to be able to explain Korea to young people, it's a privilege, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do it. In terms of the relationship and asking questions, we sometimes sort of think that the students that ask questions and are most vocal in class, they're the ones that are turned on and smart. But, you know, if you read the literature, if you read the psychological literature, you realize there are many different ways of studying. And the introverts in class are not necessarily lesser students or doing less work. They just engage with the world differently. And so as a professor, it's my job to sort of recognize that. It's not always about asking questions, but it's about being turned on, being tuned in to what's happening, not just always saying the first thing on your mind, because that's not always right sometimes. Sometimes you do need to rethink. So I love teaching Korean studies, not only to Korean students, but to people from all over the world, and of course, to myself, because I still need to learn.
Well, listening to what you just mentioned about, it's not always about, as you mentioned before, it is great to have many questions, but again, it's not all about having those questions. You can engage without those questions. Yeah. So that already shows how much you are aware of the different, the different mindsets here in Korea and other countries students, of course, as well. Yeah. So now we want to shift gears a little bit on the campus life, especially the experience for freshmen or 새내기 here in Korea. So what would stand out for you? Because it's been a while that I've been at a university campus. I guess things have changed. So what can you tell us about the freshman life?
Lots of ice Americanos, energy drinks. Cigarettes have been replaced by vapes. And the campuses, they're probably the same. There won't have been much changed. You know, students are still students. They're required to come in and do their things. The campus is generally quite lively. I love being around young people all the time because I'm getting all of these different attitudes. Like you mentioned about, you saw some people with fashion from 20 years ago. I've seen t-shirts get higher over the last year. Jeans get baggier, skinny jeans have gone out. I like watching Bermuda shorts have come in. So I like watching the fashion changes. I like seeing people come in and do all of these things. The university campus, it's also become political in the last year or so. I mean, there's often been this lament that, you know, in the 70s and 80s, you had these Minjung people, the students were the vanguard of Korean democracy, and they've all gone the way of social media and looking into their phones and becoming zombies. That's definitely not true. If you've heard and seen about what's happening on Korean university campuses, these students are engaged, they're turned on, they have a voice, and they use it whether you like it or not. So that's the university campus.
I can also imagine that many of the students these days would be playing the aparte game, you know, the random, the drinking games on the campus.
It's really easy though, isn't it? Because once you know how many people are in the group, you just say a number. Sorry, I shouldn't say bad things about the aparte game, but
You're giving it away.
They do have these OTs and MTs and those kinds of things when you start the semester. They gather together, play, have fun, as well as studying, of course. And
like I feel like there's a closer relationship between professors and students of the past. It was very much, especially in Korea, it was very much the teacher was the teacher and the students were the students. What do you do to make yourself more approachable to your students?
Should I be approachable or should I be intimidating? It's a genuine question. My international students, the majority of them will call me David. From Singapore, they'll call me Prof. That's the culture there. Most of my Korean students will still call me Gyosunim and bow to me. And so it's a cultural thing. But what you're addressing there, Walter, this power distance between professors and students, I've heard some professors, they encourage their students in Korea, in Korean, to use only Panmal. This like 평등어, this equal language, and that's required. And some students love it, some students find it very uncomfortable. And so when I was talking about this introversion, extroversion, and being conscious of it, I know that some students need a boost and they need confidence and they need building up and telling them you can do it. Other students need the stick almost. They need to be told, you need to do more, you're wasting your talent. And so it's not always about being approachable. I think it's about being real. It's about seeing people as individuals rather than a sort of anonymous block of people. It's about looking at each person there and saying, I see you, I recognize you, and this is how I'm going to communicate with you. So some students, they still like the big power distance. Others, they don't. And so it's become more personal, I think.
Probably it's different how you approach each of the single students in your classes. But I saw with my own eyes that you really click well with the students when you invited me to your program before, Professor Tizard. And I really could see that they were not forced to do that. They really liked to be a panel of your show. And that's when I really felt like, oh, it's like just like friends to some extent. But I guess it depends on what kind of students you have or what kind of MBTIs they have. It's really not an easy task, I would have to imagine. But thank you very much, Professor Tizard, for sharing your thoughts today. And we wish you the best for the new school year.
Thank you very much. Study hard, everybody.
All right. And thank you, Walter. As always, we'll see you back here tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave, and hope you join us again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Korea time and maybe one day here in Korea.